Okay, so for my learning project post this week, I'm just going to do a quick little drop in of what I'm currently working on. This is the image that I submitted to one of my other classes that I'm currently taking, my Art 333 course. Um, for this project, we were supposed to present different artist styles that we appreciated, and one girl in my class presented Yuko Shizumu's, or no, Shizumu, I think. Yeah, presented her artwork, and it was really neat because it was kind of like a combination between pop art and traditional Japanese art. So I really liked it, so I decided to do a work kind of based off of her art, which is this. Let's see if I can make it. Yeah, so that's what it looked like. I was really unhappy with how it turned out because the colors just were terrible. So I tried using watercolor pencils for the first time, and it just, yeah, I was quite shocked by how much more saturated the color was once I put water on it. So it did not turn out the way I wanted it to at all. I wanted it to have like a really light wash, sort of Japanese woodblock print look to it. So what I'm going to do is something that I'm probably going to be using throughout my learning project is just the idea that I can draw something, and if I don't like it, I can upload it to my computer, and then I can change it in Photoshop because I can go over it and add lines and basically redo the artwork in any way that I want. There's a lot more freedom in working with Photoshop. So, yeah, I just wanted to emphasize the focus on the digital since this is a course on the digital. Um, yeah, so I'm just going to show how I start off when I do this. Typically, I upload the original, I lower the opacity so that's easier to draw on top of it, and then I just go over doing all of the line art on a fold or on a layer called Sketch. And I'm using a Wacom tablet, so it's like an iPad basically that sits in front of your computer, and you use a weird looking little pencil to draw on it, and then whatever you draw on the tablet appears on your screen, like so. So it doesn't have to be perfect because I'm really zoomed in right now, so you can see more details than you would if I zoomed out. But at the same time, you do want it to be quite crisp, I guess, because say it's like, oh, well, that doesn't even really look bad. But if I just went like that and I was off a little bit, then when I zoom out, I'd be able to tell that I was off. So yeah, I just kind of work around slowly. It's a very like not perfectly accurate way to work. My tablet doesn't have an actual screen on it, so you have to have somewhat decent hand-eye coordination to make this work because I'm not looking at what I'm drawing. I'm looking at my computer screen, and my hand is. That's why sometimes when I draw a line, it's off because I think I'm going to be drawing on the right spot, but it turns out that my hand-eye coordination is actually kind of crap. I'm just going to make that thicker so it looks like it's, actually blending from something. Um, Another thing that's neat about this is if I push harder, the line will be thicker, and if I go lighter, then the line will be smaller, which is really useful for drawing things that are supposed to be furry because then I can sort of get that calligraphy look going on for myself. Um, yeah, it's kind of neat. It's innovative, that's for sure. Because I can literally take anything that I've drawn, even like slightly sketched out, and make it into a finished piece in maybe like half the time it would take me to do it traditionally, which is really awesome. You also spend a lot less time erasing because say if I drew something really hard like that and then I went to erase it with pencil, it would erase kind of like that. Like you could still see it there, kind of, right? And I don't want that. With Photoshop, I can make it so that it all goes away and there's going to be no, like, I won't have any regrets for trying to draw a line. And if it doesn't turn out well, I can just completely get rid of it like it never happened. That being said, say I draw that, but then I also draw a bunch of lines all over here. And then eventually I realize, oh, I really don't like that line. I'm going to have to undo each and every one of these lines. And typically, whoa, why did that happen? There we go. Typically, when you first download Photoshop, there's only so many undos that you can undo before it like is just stuck there forever. It's like it keeps a history. I'm not sure how to get the history to pop up because I've changed mine so that it's infinite. It will save all of my history from the moment I open the document. Um, so like for mine, every line that I've drawn since I've opened this document, not these ones that I had already going for me, but these new ones that I've done, I can undo all of those because that's what I've set my history to. My history is infinite from the moment I open the document. Most people have maybe like 15 undos before it just cancels. And I think that has something to do with memory so that the program can run smoother. And say I have this going for like 8 hours and I've added like a million lines and a million different layers of color, it has to keep track of that history because that's the setting I have it on. So if it only keeps track of like the last 7 things you did, then it won't slow down as you continue working on it. If you have a better computer, it's not really a problem, but I certainly do not have the best of all computers, so it can be a problem for me, but usually at that point I just save after I make sure that everything, looks good, and then I'll close it and then I'll open it again and it won't be a problem. Might be a bit of a backwards way of doing it, but it's just I don't know, it's what I'm used to, so yeah. Um if I do a slow line like this, I find that it will be rockier than if I just continually try to do a quick little sweep of a line, because then I can just go back in and erase what I don't like. And then, oh, I don't like the end of that, so I can just go in and add to it. So it's not like I ever get the line right on the first try. I'm constantly going back and editing it and shaving it down to the shape that I want it to be. Like, oh, I don't like that little bump right there, so I'm gonna zoom in way too much and just kind of shave it down. It's almost like whittling, if that's even how you say that word. I'm not sure. Whatever. Oh, and then I also noticed a flaw, so I can add to it there. Yeah, if I zoom out, it looks quite fine and dandy. If you zoom in, you can see like all of these errors, but you have to remember that when people look at it, they're going to be looking at it from typically this size. Like if I upload this to DeviantArt or to my blog or to Instagram, well, maybe that's not the best example because Instagram always cuts everything into a square shape, but typically it will be this size. People are not going to download it and look at your pixels. That's just, who does that? Unless they're like an avid fan or something, I don't know. Then maybe they'll do that, but at that point, we've got some different things to consider. I don't have those things to consider because I don't have any avid fans. Sniff, sniff. That's. Oh no. I've done a thing. Oh no! Okay. See how suddenly my circle is gone? There's like a certain keystroke that just turns that off. I have no idea. Oops. Oh, yeah. Cursor disappeared. Photoshop CS6. Yes, there we go. That is me. Somewhere in here, it will tell me how to fix it. Caps lock key. That's what it would be. Okay. Oh yeah, see, I turned off my caps lock key and it's back. And it's gone. And it's back. Okay. I'm glad I could solve that. So yeah. It's like a really long patience testing process. My boss texted me. What does she need? Funny. She texted me earlier, was like, I need you to start work later tomorrow. And then I was like, okay, that's fine. And then I said, I'll see you tomorrow. She's like, okay. Also, by the way, Friday I need to change your start time. Sorry for juggling your times around. And I was like, no, I really don't mind. It's all good. Do whatever you need to do. And then she just texted me again. This was like half an hour ago. She just texted me again now and said, can I actually change you back to an earlier start time tomorrow? No, really. She's funny. There we go. It's all good. It's all good, Heather. Oh, geez. What? Now what? She keeps texting me. Oh, she says, perfect. Um, is it this? Okay, yeah, that's another thing. See how it says touch off? My tablet has a button where I can, like, right now I am touching the tablet with my finger and nothing's happening. But if touch is on, I'm moving the mouse around with my finger and not my mouse or my pen. So typically I want it to turn off because when I'm drawing, my hand rests on the tablet. And see, like, if you go back in the video, maybe like, what, 10 seconds, I just randomly zoomed out. I didn't mean to zoom out. That was because my hand touched the tablet and somehow zoomed out because I had the touch option on. But now it's off, so it's fine. So it's not going to be a problem. But now, if I want to zoom in, I have to use my mouse wheel, which is also not a typical shortcut that is set up on Photoshop. I found that out in my internship because I taught a photography course for a while. And I'd go to zoom in, and scrolling with the mouse wheel did absolutely nothing. I'd just sit there waiting for it to scroll out, and my students would be looking at me like, why is she just sitting there? Why is she doing nothing? I'm pretty sure that she's supposed to be doing something. And I had to explain to them, I'm sorry, I don't know how to scroll in and out. And they just looked at me like, really? You're teaching us how to use Photoshop and you don't know how to do one of the most basic things on Photoshop that everyone in this room, regardless of whether they're in Photoshop 10 or 20, knows how to do? Really? And yeah, it was just this awkward moment of like, ooh, I'm sorry, I'm used to my Photoshop at home. Because yeah, you can customize all the shortcuts and it's great when you get to use your own Photoshop, but not so great when you have to go somewhere else and pretend like you know what you're doing, because you no longer know what you're doing at that point.